Hello and welcome to Power to the People with me, Graeme Pryce. So it's finally been announced, after the most tedious and unnecessarily lengthy leadership election in history, that Kemi Badenoch will now be the main face of the Conservative Party and His Majesty's official leader of the opposition. Now, I haven't spoken much about the Tory scrabble to lead the party in the wake of their worst defeat in history. They currently have a reputation for being the most pointlessly hateful and stomach-churningly arrogant carpetbaggers the country has ever seen. But I thought, now it's finally reached its dreadful and dastardly conclusion, I'd just have a quick look at our winner, Kemi Badenoch. Bad Enoch, eh? They lose an election after 14 years of being the most divisive, often outwardly racist, and fast approaching far-right party in UK history. And then they follow that up by literally voting for somebody called Bad Enoch. Even Nadine fucking Dorries couldn't make that one up. I've already made a video called 5 Reasons Kemi Badenoch is a Twat a while back. I'll link it at the end. But here's my latest opinion on a new position anyway. Right after this. I was just looking at my channel analytics and I noticed that 53% of people who watch my videos weren't subscribed. The pain. Come on, just have a quick check that you've subbed, liked and rang the bell. Make a skinny old scouser a little bit happier today. Now, I don't think it'll come as a surprise to anybody here to learn that I don't rate Kemi Badenoch very highly. In fact, I'd probably rate a festering cyst on the arse of a mange-ridden mongrel just slightly higher than Kemi Badenoch. But in her case, it isn't just down to my innate hate of Tories. I mean, it's impossible to find a Tory MP that has any level of decency, integrity or honesty. But that's just a requirement for party initiation, apparently. Kemi, though, is a particularly nasty, arrogant specimen of the worst the Conservative Party have to offer. Some might say that I owe the Conservatives an apology because I was convinced that I felt with the choice of a white man or a black woman, the racist, rich, white old men who make up the majority of the Tory party members would definitely choose the former. I'm not going to apologise though, because I've looked at the numbers and candidates and I think I've worked out what's happened. Kemi has won the least decisive approval of any of the last few horrible bastards that the Tories have made leader, with just 41% of the vote. Even Lettuce Truss got more than that. It's also come out that over a third of Tory party members didn't even bother to vote. Remember, their arrogance is legendary and astounding, and they still believe themselves and the sheer bedwetting cocksnots that they've elected into office in the last 14 years to be utterly blameless of any and all indiscretion. They didn't not turn out to vote because they've lost faith in their leaders. They'll vote practically any fucking idiot into a position of leadership, won't they? I think we know why they haven't turned out to vote for Kemi in even the same numbers they did for Liz Truss. Though it's fair to say that even the most fuck-witted, buck-toothed and impossibly posh bellends amongst the Tory members could probably say that Robert Jenrick is a fucking disgrace. A greedy, dishonest little hypocrite of a man that looks like he's got his mum to cut his hair with a knife and fork lately and was unlikely to ever be able to hold any sort of sensible or achievable position on any of the things that the Tories think that they're going to gain votes on. So the few that did still care enough to attempt to make the choice between a cup of cold sick and a whack across the face with a rotten haddock came out and chose what they thought was the safest candidate, despite the colour of his skin. Now they can boast about having the first black leader though, and this is from a party who gave £15 million to Frank Hester, the man who claimed that all black women should be shot because he had a dislike for Diane Abbott. It's also a party that was found institutionally racist repeatedly during the time in office, and also during their time in office tried to cover up evidence that the Metropolitan Police were institutionally racist. All smoke and mirrors with the Tories though, isn't it? This is, of course, A marvellous gift for Starmer though, and one that he won't have to declare. With the Tories being led by somebody who has a unique and obnoxious talent to be able to offend basically anybody from any walk of life, regardless of colour, creed or religion, like Kemi Badenoch, Labour can be relatively sure that the Tories won't be threatening them anytime soon. Do you know who does seem to be oddly rejoicing in Kemi's appointment though? Farage's fuckwits and the far-right reform tards over on Twitter. I try to avoid spending any time on Twitter now, as it's a cesspool of misinformation, bullshit and rage-baiting right-wing twat. Not to mention that it's owned by the man who I would be tempted to call the world's most blatantly evil supervillain if it wasn't for the fact that he's actually mates with the world's most blatantly evil supervillain and is currently trying to get him elected as president. I did think I'd do a quick experiment though. Reform's tweets often portray a sense of relative calm and superior normality even, but that's just their PR department working hard, and you can get a real sense of what the Reform voters are like by having a look at the comments that their supporters leave. I thought they might have something to say about the Conservatives electing their first black female leader, so I set a timer on my phone and went hunting. 4 minutes and 53 seconds. That's how long it took scrolling through Reform's reactionary codswallop before I found a post asking why Reform voters don't think she's a very good choice. And that's where I struck racist gold. Have a look at this. They really do walk among us, don't they? 4 minutes, 53 seconds. Check this one out. I don't think we should worry too much about the future potential they might have when they're made up of people that post things like that. Or this. Stunning, that one, isn't it? But if you still feel the need to see some real delusion, check out this clanger. It's easy to laugh, and maybe we should, but there is a point to be made as well. That person really genuinely believes all that nonsense. They know fuck all about practically anything they're trying to talk about, but they've been convinced that they should hang their rage on these evil, forbidding acronyms that they mostly don't even know the meaning of. ECHR, NWO, EMF, the WEF, EU. And do you know where they get that fear, paranoia and the arrogance to think that they can comment on these things? It's from people like Kemi fucking Badenoch and Nigel fucking Farage, isn't it? Maybe that proves colour isn't such a great divider after all. Thank you for watching if you've gotten this far. I'm not sure what the actual point I arrived at was at the end there, if I'm honest. Or if it was even a destination worth reaching. But at least it wasn't Rwanda. I wonder if they're going to start up that fascist nonsense now that they've got a new leader again. I'd love to hear your opinions on where the Tory party will go now that she's in charge, or what state they will end up in after having her as leader for a while. How long do you think it'll be before they kick her out and do it all again? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. If you want to support the channel, there are links to PayPal, Patreon or the Buy Me a Coffee page in the descriptions box, or the join button for memberships below, and it's always very, very much appreciated. Now obviously that isn't all I've got to say, but it's as much of what I've got to say as I'm going to say today. Ta-ra-la. Look at this. I know it's only one night, like, but it's a shame, isn't it, how scared they are. If Ray can love. Oh, we're getting a bit too bangy for it tonight, I think.